All right, stick around. We'll talk to Ross Dellinger from Sports Illustrated at 8:30 this morning. As we said, these will be our Monday shows moving into the fall. Verge Ausberry, who's the Executive Deputy Director of Athletics over at LSU, who's been with us for the past 3 weeks, and we appreciate his time. I know his office is very busy making decisions around the university and around the student-athletes. As we told you, inside headlines at LSU will be closed today. The classes that were going to open up fall campus or open up fall classes was announced Sunday afternoon that it'll be shut down, and Verge is here with us on this Monday morning. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Jordan. How you doing today?
Doing good. As we announced that, you guys announced from LSU that the classes will be closed today due to the weather. What type of protocol does that put into action for your office when dealing with decisions around athletics?
Well, the first thing we'll do, Jordan, is make sure all of our student athletes, where they are, all the coaches contact the student athletes to make sure, if you're here, if you're gone home, wherever you are, we want to know the safety of our student athletes. The second thing we do is make sure all our buildings are secure in the athletic department and working with the university, the EOC, making sure, everything is secure, everything is pinned down, make sure there's sandbags there is where we have water, those type of things. Dealing with the football program, we're going to practice like normal. Coach wanted to keep it like a normal practice day at this time. Now, if something was to change during the day with the weather, we would adjust and make sure our athletes are safe. So pretty much we're going to make sure it's like a regular, normal day for us, but we're going to be prepared if something was to happen.
Verge Ausberry joining us here, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Alexandria. The facility, as we have highlighted throughout these discussions, and Coach O has highlighted in his weekly stop, that it seems like that is probably one of the safest places for student athletes to be. Can you talk about the things that you guys have put in place to make sure and ensure that that the LSU football operations facility is clean and that it's safe for the players?
That's a good statement when he makes that statement, and it's a true statement. Even with the storms coming through, and I tell people campus is the safest place to be. But Dr. Katie O'Neill and Shelley Mullen, I talked about earlier, they have done a great job of putting things in place for our athletes when they walk in the building. This week I went to practice, and you saw the players, when they wasn't practicing, weren't doing anything, they would have their mask on. They walk in the building with their mask on. All the coaches have their mask on. They practice social distancing in the staff room, in the meeting rooms, different areas players can't go through. There's no more going to the machine. T-Bob, remember this year, and he's putting his cup on and he's getting Powerade. You have to get a bottle of Powerade. The food they give you is boxed up, taped up. You can't just put your hands on things. There's servers serving people. So we have some of the best protocols in place. Also today, Jordan, we have exciting news. A company by the name of Tiger Air, a Louisiana company, is working with Jack Marucci and Greg Stringfellow. The helmets have to be sealed. How you could pump air into the helmet to make it comfortable for the players. We've been testing that. It's been patented through LSU, and it's something that might be something new in the era of football. We're going forward. But this is something we're always trying to find new things to protect our student athletes and our players. And this is one of those inventions that they came up with, that Jack and Greg Stringfellow, those two are the best in their areas, that they come in to make sure that the players are comfortable. And we're going to get it patent here, and we'll make sure, that NCAA gives us permission, and maybe other schools get off the patent also to use this.
Yeah, Verge, I was looking at some of the protocols that was being put out last week with the cardiac testing or the heart testing, and talking to people around Jack, and even talking to Jack Marucci. I mean, this is things that LSU's been doing since like the early 90s. I think Kevin Falk was taking those tests when he was a player.
Yeah, yes, we have. We work with the cardiologists throughout the community. But that's so important to us. Yeah, so many players come in with certain different issues, like sickle cell. I mean, those things drive up, that type of heart issue. So we make sure that we do, cardiograms and everything else on all of our athletes in the athletic department. That's something that we started. Players died before of different type of heart events and didn't know. We've had athletes and other schools have had athletes. So we try to stay ahead of that. Now, I'm not saying, Joey, that, it's perfect and catch everything, but, we try to catch everything with the athlete before they start performing for LSU.
Talking to Verge Ausberry here on Off the Bench, one of our 500 with 394.7 ESPN. Verge, some other schools have released information on how many people will be in the stadium this year. I think Mississippi is around 25%, Alabama's around 20%, no tailgating in either of those spots. Where does LSU currently stand in terms of fans in the stands and tailgating and kind of the game day experience?
we're presenting plans now to state officials and to the governor's office, and we hadn't finalized those plans yet. One thing, we're going to be at LSU, we're going to be patient, and I tell our fans, please be patient with us. And we're going to work through all the details because, we still have some time here. I know time is getting short on us, but we still have time to make some decisions. And it'll probably be in that number range. We don't have an exact number yet. We're going to try to, satisfy most of our fans when it comes to the game as possible. On the issue of tailgating, that's something that we're also still working out. How we park cars, tents, things of that nature. There's so many different things that we're looking for. Dan Gasson has put a great plan together, and it's just got to be finalized, working with the state officials and the governor's office. And once we finalize it, we're going to present out there to everyone. And it should be coming out soon. Hopefully by the end of this month, we have something for everyone.
So also, Verge, we were talking about how last segment, we on this side of the table just get to see like whatever little practice cut-ups get released, and we're like poring over it, and wow, that deep ball against air looks so good. You get a little bit more of a behind-the-scenes view. What's been your big takeaways watching this team during camp thus far?
Okay, on offense, I'm the first person, the quarterback. Miles Brenner's having a tremendous camp. He's become the leader of the team. He's taking that charge. He's taking off where Joe Burrow, left from, and expected of him. He's a third-year junior for us, but playing very, very well, and also great leadership. And he's using the strongest part of our team, which is our receiving core. This is probably one of the best receiving cores in the history of LSU that we've had, and so in deep at that position right now. I think those guys are playing very, very well. On the defense side of the ball, Bo Pelini has brought a different attack style defense. I saw guys who, the last couple of years, you're like, okay, they're guys, could they help you? Couldn't they help you? But now with the guys that he has and the system he's running, you're getting more athletes on the field. So a lot of times, guys can't play in a 3-4 setting, but they play in a 4-3 setting, a better athlete, and get more athletes on the field to help defend and run in the pass. And a lot of young guys will be playing, a lot of young players who are freshmen can immediately play in that type of defense. So it's how the defense is set up. It's for attack defense. Linebackers are a strong group that we have. It might be the strongest group on the team. You might see one of those guys, wearing number 18. Very good football players, very good leadership coming from the linebacker group. It's been a while since we had good linebackers, 4 great linebackers across the core. So I think that's what I'm seeing. I go out there and practice. A lot of excitement, a lot of youth, a lot of movement, a lot of coaching going on. And I think this team here is a very, very, very good football team.
Absolutely. Verge, more on the linebacker. You played that position while you were in the program, and it seems like Pelini, while you've got the high-end guys, and that Damone Clark is going to be there, and Jabril Cox coming in as a graduate transfer from North Dakota State is going to play, but some of the names that have been in the program, it seems like Pelini has fallen in love with. Guys like Micah Baskerville seem like he's going to have another chance here to get on the field early and play in this system.
Jordy, different schemes make players. Playing like the linebackers when I played today, they're not big and taking on 2 gaps and attacking the guards. These linebackers filling gaps and filling seams, and they be able to run and be able to cover. And the more you have players that could do that, it makes your defense better. So with Pelini's scheme, when he runs, those are guys who, at first not great for a 3-4, now become great football players playing in space. And that's what you want. That's the kind of scheme we're going to run here.
What do you anticipate with the first week of class? I know that it's canceled today and that decisions will be made on what it looks like for the rest of the week when you guys have a chance to monitor the information on Hurricane Laura. But what do you anticipate when classes get up and get moving regularly on how it affects athletics and what it looks like on the university's campus?
First and foremost, like I told you last week, we're going to protect, we tell our student athletes, don't be selfish. It's safety. Protect yourself. Protect, who you come in contact with. The pandemic is still going on. The virus is still out there. But, we got to protect each other within our athletic department, within our football program. Also, Walt Holliday and his staff, the academic staff, have done a great job. They're prepared for this. Some classes you have to go to in person. Some classes are virtual classes. And with the virtual classes, we've been preparing for this for a while now in online learning. And Walt Holliday and his staff, they prepared our student athletes and our football players. We've had the best semester we ever had last spring academically. And so he's here. They got the system in place. They have the people in place. And I think, since we started this in the spring, it's not going to be a big adjustment for our student athletes. They'll be able to go in there and know what they're doing, know their courses, and just get back to work.
Verge, the decision was out of your control, but a lot of the fans are curious on what the communication is like with your non-conference opponents right now, and everybody was looking forward toward that Texas game. Has there been any communication on what that game may look like in the future, if it could possibly be rescheduled, or has that even started?
Jordy, we've had just, a conversation about, we're going to get to that when it comes. I think right now the Big 12, all of us, we're just trying to get this year on, and we're concentrating right now on this year. I think after, to kick the ball off on September 26th, then we all get back together and start talking about how we move, change games, do things. And, we hope to get the Texas game back here sooner than later. We have our schedules made out already. And, I think, Jordan, the future schedule is going to change some. You might see where 2 Power 5 schools on a team schedule. So, Coach O, one thing about him, he's not afraid to do that. And he wants those type of games, and we want those type of games. So we're going to look to get that game back here, and we've had, informal conversations. But after we kick the ball off on September 26th, we'll get more serious conversation.
Verge, is your daily communication, is it with the league office? Is it with the governor's office? Are you guys in contact with those guys every day?
Yeah, not every day, every other day. We're always talking to somebody because bottom line, so much uncertainty. So it's what if? What if this happen? What if this change? What if this happens? What if this happens? So every day, you're talking to people, including the fire marshal's office about, how people enter the stadium, concourse area, concession stands, safety, parking. There's so many different issues that pop up every day. And so many times we forget about little things that, you realize an LSU football game is about 3,500 people to put on an LSU football game. And you forget, this group, that group, what we're going to do with this group. And all of a sudden, Dan said, Verge, how are we going to handle this? Or, he asked us, staff, Scott and Stephanie, how are we going to do this? When this happens, how should we do it? And there's so many different groups that we have that's involved in LSU football. So just making sure you're hitting and communicating with each one. So every day is like another thing happens, something changes, an uncertainty part of it. But, Dan has done a good job of keeping us online.
Verge, I know you're a fan of a friend of ours on this show, Eddie Bonine, who's the executive director over at the LHSAA, and you've got a couple of guys, a couple of student athletes coming up that are your sons over at University High that are pretty good football players. As a parent, what has your position been during this time? We talk to you every Monday as an executive, and everybody appreciates that information, but a lot of people can relate to you as the parent. What's this time been like for you in trying to keep your son's positive mindset?
That's a great question. As a parent, I'm always looking. I always look when I look at our young people, athletes at LSU. If I was their parent, how would I handle this? And one thing I learned that I have a 15 and 16-year-old, and it's very hard to keep them locked down in the house 24/7. And so I know it happens with our young men and women and student athletes. I just try to talk to them about staying in, staying safe, protecting your team. So you high and the high schools around here could have a hell of a football season. It's very important. Eddie has done a great job, and Eddie and I are friends, and we talk regularly too. But he's kind of following us. If college football fails, then probably high school football in a lot of areas might not take place. It's very important to our community, to our state. So I tell my young men, look, stay healthy, protect yourself, protect your teammates, and you all have to protect each other. And that's pretty much what we have to do, Jordan, if we want to get this football season on. Make sure that we're doing the things to make sure that we have a football season and protect people. Don't be selfish. That's what we tell. I tell my kids and tell our student athletes.
Every Monday morning, right here on Off the Bench, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Alexandria, LSU Executive Deputy Athletic Director Verge Ausberry. We always appreciate it. Have a good week.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you.
Thanks, Verge.
We will close at hour one next.